All right, everybody, welcome back to the TexAgs High School Football Show. Ryan Brauninger and Jason Howell with you today as we get set to preview a regional semifinal round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. That means there's 4 teams left in each region. There's 4 regions in each classification. So we're into the Sweet 16, Mr. Howell. I guess we'll start like we always do with what you saw last week, and then we'll get into some of these really intriguing affairs coming up this weekend, post-Thanksgiving Day games across the Metroplex and some in the Hill Country and quite a few in Houston.
Well, I was at Louisville, Arlington, Martin on Friday night in Irving. My first time going to Irving, so it was a little bit of a treat for me. Don't get too many firsts in this business these days. But, yeah, Louisville came in and avenged a playoff loss from last year. I want to say Martin put it on them like 68-0 last year.
Yeah, it was a blowout, right?
Yeah, it was. And it was clearly something that these guys had been talking about ever since that night. And so the Farmers came in with an agenda and with last year fresh on their minds. And they were able to pull away for, what was even bigger margin than that final 35-18 score indicates. Pulled away in the second half. Damian Martinez had a couple big touchdown runs. Jaden Hardy in his first game back from a little shoulder injury had a scoop and score, a couple PBUs, was in on several tackles. Just an all-around great effort by the Farmers. On the Martin side, Javian Toviano is just, he does what he does, man. He was paired up with Armani Winfield for most of the night and, pretty much kept him under wraps. If anybody went off, it was Kai Stone for Louisville, and Toviano had a big say in what Winfield was able to do on the night. But Toviano looked like a 5-star that we thought he has been, and all in all, just got to see 2 of the best DBs in the state on Friday night.
And that was your only game. So
yeah,
were there some other scores around the region up there in Dallas that really caught your eye?
Sauk and Frisco. South Oak Cliff's one of those schools that DISD it gets knocked, but and they're kind of like Fort Bend Marshall, where they have a couple schools in their district, and other than that, it's blowout central. And so they come in and take on Frisco, and they were able to squeeze by them 35-24. That Frisco's been a thorn in their side the last couple of years, so that was nice to see them kind of get over that hump. And now they get a Lato this week. And then Mansfield Timberview over unbeaten Ennis, 42-21. Timberview is coming on strong. That is a team not to sleep on. I want to say they're sitting right at 8-4 on the season, but they've been on a strong run lately. Definitely a team to watch. DeSoto separating against Rockwall in the second half, and then I gotta say it, man. College Station put.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Did you see that coming? Like, that's kind of a crossover between our 2 regions, and that was a game that I don't know that you can set a benchmark. Like, you can't play transitive property in high school football because you're dealing with 15 to 18-year-old kids. But man, I thought College Station would win, but not like that.
Well, I thought it was going to be a close ball game. I honestly, I thought it was a bit of a toss-up. And, if it would have went either way, I wouldn't have been surprised. But I thought 3 points here or there. 55-21 that is a statement. College Station has put everyone on notice in the state of Texas. So no one's going to be sleeping on, if you can sleep on College Station. They've just been killing people all year. But these teams from the metro areas, Houston and Dallas, they are very well aware of College Station.
Well, I think too, Denton Ryan got pushed pretty good by Magnolia West as well.
Yeah. Well, and see, Denton Ryan, unless that defense does it, they're not going to run away from a lot of teams. But Denton Ryan, that defense is something else, and that kind of leads me to where I'll be this week. I get to see the Raiders again this week, and yeah, it's their defense is what carries them, and I think if they can get a couple plays from that offense and Caleb Hicks carrying the load at running back, they're usually going to end up pulling away for a couple scores.
Well, I went up to Waco, very pretty McLean Stadium, my first time to ever be in the home of the Baylor Bears. Very nice stadium, very clean. It is small, but it's very nice.
It's perfect for Baylor. That's for sure.
And I saw El Campo take on Lindell and was able to watch Reuben Owens put up another 300-yard game, 320-plus yard rushing, had a 30-yard reception. Just a fantastic performance, leads the Rice Birds on to the next round where they'll play Little Cypress Mauriceville on Friday night in Woodforest Bank Stadium there in the Woodlands. But Reuben was the workhorse. I mean, he was what you expect a five-star running back to be. And really just the overall physicality of El Campo, banging that Reuben Owens drum, and he just wears you down and wears you down. They got it. Nobody was getting stops in the first half. Lindell's quarterback is a baseball kid headed to Texas State. Really savvy kid, big, long kid with a really strong arm. And neither defense could make a stop. And then we got into the second half. I think El Campo was able to come up with 2 interceptions and a punt in the third quarter, and that's really where the game swung because their offense was going down and scoring every time their defense would come up with a big turnover. So the Rice Birds and what many have thought would be a historic season for them continue to move on there. And then on Friday night, I stayed here locally. I went over to Merrill Green Stadium in Bryan and watched Manville take on Flugerville Weiss. The Flugerville Weiss team, Jason, that I know you were very high on, and they certainly put up a really good fight for what
they're going to be a team to watch over the next few years.
But like you always say with Manville, they just roll out dudes, and their sophomore class is loaded with physical Division I looking prospects. And talking to their coaching staff there, they're like, our sophomore class is okay, but that freshman class we got is off the charts good. So we'll continue to hear Manville for a while. But I do want to shout out DeMonte Seymour, the running back for the Mavericks, their all-time leading rusher in Manville history. And that says something about the talent of this kid. I think he's got 1 scholarship offer, and that needs to change. He went for 370 yards on 33 carries, I believe. Just a phenomenal night, really like low center of gravity, tough runner, good contact balance, vision's great. And somebody out there has got to go get this kid. You're the all-time leading rusher at Manville. I don't care what your name is, how big you are, what your shortcomings people may think that you have. If you're the all-time leading rusher at a program like that, you should have more than 1 scholarship offer. So I want to shout out DeMonte Seymour. I saw a lot of great performances last week. And you saw some as well, but I don't know that any top what he did there at Merrill Green Stadium in Bryan. So, Jason, moving on to this week. I know you said you'll be at Denton Ryan. What do you expect to see from the Raiders, and where else will you be?
Well, I'll be at in Mesquite at Ryan Longview. I expect there not to be a run of clock this time. They opened the season against each other, and Ryan put it on Longview as turnovers and penalties just really suffocated Longview throughout that contest. But I expect there not to be a running clock, and I don't expect to leave early like I did last time. But then I'll be going out to Alvarado, get a chance to see Marlon and the Bulldogs, big linebacker Darian Gillette. So I'll get a chance to see 2 of the state's top linebackers on Friday night. And I'm really excited to see Marlon against Toller. And then Walker will actually be up here in the Dallas area. He's going to be at Mansfield for a couple games there at Newsom Stadium, South Oak Cliff, Aledo that we talked about. And then Argyle, Stephenville. That should be a heck of a contest. Stephenville's coming in undefeated. Jaden Scarlett, who missed last game, is expected to be back and ready to roll this game. So this will be a really big, test for Stephenville. He's got some big wins under their belt.
I'm going to start my Friday at Legacy Stadium as Katy continues to roll on, but they're playing a very talented C.E. King team there. Really a home game for Katy, but that Legacy Stadium has held a lot of important matchups, and I know people keep going there. So I guess Katy's like, hey, you guys want to keep coming to us? We're not going to tell you no. And then on Friday night, I'm going to make the drive up to Northwest Houston to see A&M Consolidated take on Crosby. I did want to see these local teams as much as if I could. A&M Consolidated really got things rolling after an injury to their starting quarterback in the middle of the year. Now they've got a freshman playing, and he's starting to really catch his stride. And they've got a great offensive line. They got Rhett Larson committed to SMU. They just got a 2023 kid, got an offer from Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Two really good sophomore backs, Wesley Greaves at wide receiver. So this Consol team starting to find their form here as we get into the third round of the playoffs. And if they win, they could set up a really intriguing matchup with either Port Neches Groves or Texarkana, Texas High, who I know you're very high on.
Yeah.
Did you see where that game's being played?
No, where is it?
So Texas High versus Port Neches Groves is being played in Natchitoches, Louisiana. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I did at
Turpin Stadium.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that one. But
I'll tell you what, though, that's a nice little setup there too, though.
It is.
Everybody can get some meat pies and come on home after that.
I would just rather it be on the other side of the Sabine River, but that's 5A Division II and Region 3. And then on Saturday, I am going to make it, or I'm attempting to make the Summer Creek versus Cinco Ranch game at U of H. Starts at 1. A&M plays at 6, so it's going to be a little bit of a tight squeeze.
Yeah.
I did want to go see Kelvin Banks play. Summer Creek's been on a heck of a run since they've gotten into the playoffs. There are a couple of districts, Jason, that I know in Greater Houston that still have 3. There's, like I said, there's 4 teams left in each region. And there's 2 districts in Houston that have 3 teams still left in the playoffs. One of them is that Summer Creek, Atascocita, and North Shore District. And the other one is Manville, Katy, Pato, and Fort Bend Hightower. They're in 5A Division 5A Division 1 in Region 3. So Houston is being very, very well represented. Some of these districts have really shown their might and their depth here in the playoffs. And again, we keep separating. It's like last week I called it separation week in the city of Houston, or elimination week, because you had so many great matchups. You had Dickinson taking Tascasita right down to the wire. And then this week it's like these inter district matchups are on the line here. So it's going to be a fun week, man.
I tell you what, you got a couple DFW Houston area matchups that are really intriguing too. You got DeSoto and Westfield going up against each other. Yeah. I got to give Westfield the edge here. I mean, they're only undefeated with a big win over North Shore, and really have just been doing
well. And
work.
They beat Spring too, and Spring's been rolling.
When they play that one in San Antonio. So you guys down there in San Antonio got a chance to get a real treat and some of that big time DFW Houston football. And then you got Duncanville talking about Spring. You got Duncanville going up against Spring at the Ford Center. And one I'm watching here, there's a couple, Allen and Euless Trinity in Eagle Stadium. If this was at a neutral site, I'd probably lean towards Euless Trinity and Ollie Gordon, but it's at Eagle Stadium. So
I don't know how does Allen, programs like Allen and Katy get third round games at home?
Well, yeah, people take the chance on the coin flip, and that's what happened. So I gotta give Allen a little bit of an edge there, but that should be a knockdown drag out. And then you got Louisville, South Lake Carroll, and Capel. So that with everybody's picking South Lake to take home the title in 6A Division I, but Louisville is, after that Martin game, they definitely put some people on notice. So it should be a fun one.
All right, Jason. Well, happy Thanksgiving. Be safe on the road. I know you were doing some cardio earlier this morning, so you can get that extra piece of sweet potato pie in tomorrow.
That's right. Absolutely. Pumpkin dub cake, my favorite.
There you go. Next week, we'll be back to preview the regional finals on the TexAgs High School recruiting show. It's not recruiting show, TexAgs High School football show.
That's right.
The TexAgs High School recruiting team. We'll see y'all next week. Happy Thanksgiving.